Good morning, you're welcome to The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. My name is Rume Paulson. It's Monday, the 20th of January, 2025. In fact, it's known as Civil Rights Day and also the Inauguration Day for the President-elect of the United States of America. So, of course, today they're going to be electing, or rather swearing into office, President Donald Trump. Anyways, on today's breakfast show, bringing it back to Nigeria, we'll be discussing several hot topics, one of which is over 100 people dead in Niger State as tanker explode. Another is Niger Delta youth protest oil block licenses awarded to outsiders. Of course, they want it for themselves. We'll also be taking global stories that made it to the front pages of our national dailies, as well as some top trending stories. But first, let's check out our quote of the day. And our quote of the day says, I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. And that's according to Stephen R. Covey. He's an American educator. In fact, he's known for his book, 7 Habits. And he says this morning, I am not a product of my circumstances. I am a product of my decisions. So, of course, life would always happen to each and every one of us because we're all living in this world, right? But the decision you make determines your altitude, determines how far you want to go in life. If you're just going to say, you know what, life happened to me and I'm going to sit back and just watch, then nothing is going to happen in future. Your life is going to remain the same. But if you make certain decisions right now to say, I want to have a better life, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of whatever I'm facing right now, then it's going to be better for you. So the decisions you make today determine your future. Whatever decision you make right now, whether it is, learning a trade, going back to school, making sure you're spending time with your family and friends and loved ones, excelling in your job, trying to get that career advancement, whatever it is, whatever decision you make today determines what the next 5, 10, 15 years would be like. You know how they tell you that, your circumstances are fine, but whatever decision you make, you're going to face the consequences, either good or bad. So it's important that you're making the right decisions today. Today, obviously, we're still in January, so you can start now, even though we're already 20 days into the year, but you can still decide that I want to make that vision board. I want to be able to put all of my goals and dreams in one place and have it in front of me where I know that when the opportunity comes, I can easily grab it and I can easily make that decision to having a better life. So your circumstances is always going to be your circumstances. Do not wallow away. Do not, live in self-pity and saying, why did this happen to me? Why is my life just like this? You can make your life better by just making one simple decision, either to stay the way it is, or to make it better, or to make, such decisions whereby I can start to execute certain things that would ensure I live a fulfilled life, a life of purpose. And I'm sure that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants that life of purpose. So it all boils down to your decision today. So in the words of Stephen Covey, you're not a product of your circumstances, you're a product of the decisions that you make. All right, that's it for our quote of the day. Moving over to our top trending stories. This first one says, Umahi warns of funding shortages for road repairs. David Umahi, Nigeria's Minister of Works, expressed frustration with the insufficient funding for the country's road repairs. Speaking before the Senate Committee on Works, he explained that the current budget does not meet the vast infrastructure needs, with repair costs rising significantly in recent years. Umahi highlighted a backlog of 2,064 road projects inherited by President Bola Tinubu's administration, now valued at 18 trillion naira due to inflation. He noted that President Tinubu is seeking loans to finance these projects, stressing the importance of roads for economic growth and poverty reduction. Umahi emphasized that the current 827 billion naira budget for 2025 is inadequate, and Senate members agreed, calling for greater investment in infrastructure to address growing road repair challenges. Of course, there are so many roads in Nigeria that need repair, and I think the first issue is maintenance. In Nigeria, we do not really have the best maintenance culture, and that's something that we need to imbibe really, because before something gets so bad, if you're trying to maintain it, it wouldn't get as bad as worse off. And you know how I mean, when we're much little, there's always that saying, "A stitch in time saves nine." If you're going to sew that little stitch right now, then of course the whole dress is not going to rip off. It's not just going to unravel. And that's what we need in Nigeria. In fact, we live here in Lagos. There's so many roads that are bad, so many potholes everywhere. If we're not going to keep maintaining this road, then from time to time, we need a huge amount, of funding to now do the road all over again. So why can't we salvage what we have? Why can't we maintain what we have? Of course, we're talking about, and this is just for roads, we're talking about how much trillions of naira. And we're looking at over 2,000 roads to be repaired, or even the ones that need to be constructed. For instance, the Lagos-Calabar Highway. There's also the Kaduna one. So all of these things, of course, they need infrastructure. They need all of this infrastructure. They need funding. So if we're not going to get good money, we're not going to maintain it, then what are we doing? So it's important that what we have, we're maintaining it. And then if we're even looking for funding, is to construct new ones, of which I'm of the opinion that why are we not doing so much with the railway system? Rail is faster. You're looking at so many, at least you can cargo a lot of things when it comes to shipments and stuff like that. So it's important that we're even diversifying our transportation network. Great to, have all of these roads, but what are we doing with other forms of transportation? And railway is definitely one to look into right now, because if we have that, then we can, just quickly dash in, dash out from different states, connecting different states. So with what David Umahi is saying is we need a lot of money. And of course, the president now is looking for foreign investment. These foreign investors, if they have to come in, of course, the business environment needs to be good for them, right? They need to be sure that they can make their money back. So all of those things, with the whole taxation, and I know the president obviously is trying to do something with this whole tax reform bills and all of that. But my point is, we just still need to put our house in order. We need to ensure that these foreign investors, they can come in here and say, yes, I'm able to put my money because I know that it's going to yield, dividends for me. So with our maintenance when it comes to the road, we definitely need to do a lot more better. All right, another top trending story says TikTok removed from US app stores ahead of ban. TikTok ceased functioning in the United States and vanished from Apple and Google app stores just before a federal ban was set to take effect. The company's website informed users that the app was no longer available, and users encountered a pop-up message stating, "Sorry, TikTok isn't available right now." This followed the enactment of a law banning the app due to national security concerns over its Chinese ownership. In response, TikTok initially informed users that the service would be temporarily unavailable and that they were working to restore it. However, the platform's future in the US remained uncertain. President-elect Donald Trump suggested he might extend the deadline by 90 days to allow TikTok to continue operating, with an announcement expected after his inauguration. This ban stems from a 2024 law signed by President Biden requiring TikTok's owners, ByteDance, to either shut down or sell the app to a non-foreign adversary by the set deadline. Lawmakers, including Rep. Mike Gallagher, expressed concerns over TikTok's potential to pose a national security threat due to its Chinese ties. Well, of course, we even have more updates because today is the inauguration day for the US, and there's obviously more reports here that are said, in agreement with our service providers, TikTok is in process of restoring service. We thank President Trump for providing the necessary clarity and assurance to our service providers that they will face no penalties, providing TikTok to over 170 million Americans and allowing over 7 million small businesses to thrive. And of course, the company said this. It says, "We will work with President Trump on a long-term solution that keeps TikTok in the United States." So for a few hours, TikTok was banned. It wasn't even available, but right now it's been back on. And I remember going to social media, and so many people in the US have been coming on Instagram, for instance, because they've left TikTok, and saying how TikTok has helped their lives, how they have millions of followers there, and now they just cannot, access it. There's a 90-day, there might be a 90-day window if President Donald Trump obviously signs that. And I feel like at this point, when we talk about national security, something that definitely needs to be taken seriously. I don't know if ByteDance definitely is going to sell their app to someone else just because they're trying to, play it cool with the United States of America, because of course it's their idea, it's their company, is whatever they want to do with that. So I don't know if they would love the US so much to say, yes, we want to sell it just to ensure that people in the US can use it. But circling it back to Nigeria, I remember when Twitter was banned in Nigeria. So of course, anything could happen. And I just hope that, even here in Nigeria, they don't say we're going to ban TikTok because we want to, do the whole photo op when it comes to the US, because a lot of people see the US as the first nation. So anything you want to do, you want to be careful so that you can be in the good books of the United States of America. So I hope they don't now say we want to ban TikTok or ban other social media platforms here in Nigeria just because the US has done that. But I'm sure the US, have their reasons for this when they're talking about national security. I don't know how this is going to play, but at least for, Americans right now, the app is back on. They can definitely download it if you did not have it before. And if you have it, you can now use it, pending when they finally decide to take it off. Continuing with our top trending story, court bars FRSC penalizing, from penalizing drivers with faded plates. A federal high court in Lagos has ruled that the Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, cannot arrest or fine drivers for having faded vehicle number plates. Justice Akintayo Aluko issued the judgment following a lawsuit by Chinwike Chamberlain Ezebube, who challenged the FRSC authority to impose penalties for faded plates, arguing that the agency, as the producer of the plates, was responsible for their durability. Ezebube sought an order for the FRSC to replace any faded number plates at no extra cost, provided the initial fee was paid. The court agreed with him, ruling that while drivers can seek replacements for faded plates, the use of such plates cannot be criminalized or penalized. The FRSC was also instructed to replace Ezebube's number plates after the payment of the required fee. In defense, the FRSC had requested the dismissal of the case and sought punitive costs against the plaintiff. However, the court ruled in favor of Ezebube, emphasizing that the FRSC lacks the authority to fine or impound vehicles for faded plates without a court order. What we love to hear, of course, because if you are the one who have, created these number plates, there should be the durability to say, okay, for the next 4 or 5 years or 10 years, maybe, come rain, come sun, this number plates will still, serve you. How can I pay for, obviously, my number plates, and then it gets faded, and that is my problem, whereby you now have to impound my vehicle or arrest me? And of course, in Ezebube's case, he has paid the initial fee. I had paid, it's not like I'm owing you. Or it's not like maybe I went and I picked up the number plate from somewhere. Of course, if it's an illegal place where it wasn't you who even issued it in the first place, it's understandable. But it should be a situation whereby if my plates are faded and you see it, or I can even come and report it to you that those number plates have been faded, then you should be able to, replace it for me, as long as I still have the number plate, and maybe I even have the receipt or something to show that I paid the initial fee in the first place. With number plates, I remember my number plate got missing due to flooding in Lekki. Let's not even go there. So it got missing, and of course, I had to obviously get a police report. I had to pay more money. In fact, the money I used to, getting the number plates or registering the vehicle in the first place wasn't even as much as what I used to just replace the one number plate. So I think a lot needs to be done in that, in that aspect. FRSC needs to find ways to even make it easier for people, for vehicle owners. Don't stress us too much. Don't try and make the whole thing complicated just before we can get our number plates, or if it's faded and then you want to impound our vehicles or arrest us. It's a whole lot. And I think at this point, I love the court's ruling, and I love the fact that, someone is doing it for us. Is bold enough to say, yes, I paid you. I paid you already. If my number plates are faded, then you should replace that. And I love the fact that the court has ruled to this. I hope it's not just in Lagos State. I hope, all around Nigeria, people can obviously get their faded number plates replaced if it gets faded, and as long as they paid the initial fee. All right, our final top trending story goes back to the US, and it says Trump arrives in Washington, plans mass deportation soon after inauguration. Donald Trump arrived in Washington on Saturday ahead of his inauguration on Monday, which is today, the 20th of January, where he's expected to quickly implement a mass deportation program. The incoming president, along with his wife Melania and family members, attended a private event at his Virginia golf club, which featured a fireworks show. Trump has emphasized that on day one of his second term, one of his key priorities will be expelling undocumented migrants, with operations set to begin very, very quickly, in his words, after his swearing in. And in an interview, Trump revealed plans to sign a significant number of executive orders shortly after taking office, aiming to undo many of President Joe Biden's policies. Among these actions is the mass deportation program, which is a central focus, with Trump confirming that it will roll out swiftly, though he declined to specify which cities will be affected. His new predecessor, Tom Homan, stated that the administration is adjusting to a strategy following media leaks, but it reiterated that deportations will begin immediately. The imminent mass deportation marks a sharp reversal of Biden's era immigration policies, with Trump positioning it as a major part of his administration's agenda. Their actions are expected to be part of a broader crackdown on illegal immigration that Trump has long promised to pursue once back in office. So, mass deportation. But of course, the key word here is illegal immigrants. So, of course, if you're there without the right documents, you might just be deported. President Trump obviously has a lot in his manifesto, and one of the things he had always said, in fact, in his first term, he spoke about the wall going up. He spoke about not allowing immigrants or illegal immigrants to come in, and a lot of people found going to the U.S. at that point quite difficult. In fact, in Nigeria, to get a date, for your interview, to be able to get that visa for your visa interview was quite difficult. So we can only imagine what it's going to be like right now. He's trying to do the whole cleansing of America to ensure that the country is for its own people, which is understandable, and I think every country should do that. Of course, that's what Nigeria should do. A lot of times we prioritize foreigners, we prioritize other people before our own people, and that's not right. Of course, that's what President Trump is doing. I don't know how people are going to be affected by this. A lot of people that are going to be affected by this, a lot of families, because a lot of people love to go to the US. They see it as, the land of the bold, the land of the free, and, the land of opportunities. So right now, some of the opportunities might just be cut short. But if you really want to go, make sure that you have your proper documentation. Make sure that you have your visa. Make sure you do not overstay, because if you do, you might just be deported. You might be affected with this. Anywho, that's our top trending stories this morning. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll be looking at Off the Press, where we'll be taking all the global stories that made it to the front pages of our national dailies. For now, let's check out the weather report. Please stay with us.